Okay, we're back at the Duotone stand. Probably the boxiest stand. Here, look at this. Video walls.
You like it, man? You like it, eh?
Oh, it's pretty cool. It's chilly outside.
Nice.
Okay, we're back with Jordy Vonk. Obviously, you've just seen the sail video. If you haven't seen that, go and have a look on the channel. We're going to be talking about the boards now. I'll let you tell me where to start. Obviously, you're at the Defy Wind, so
Yes.
where is it most natural to start? What have you been riding?
Well, yeah, exactly. That's the thing, no? It depends again on your goal right here. If you want to win races, the Falcon Fin D-Lab is our World Cup board, is our fastest board. It's been going through a massive change this year. If you have the old one and the one from this year next to each other, you can really see everything is different. Okay. From the rails, the recessed deck, the tail of the board, the length reduced.
Big changes.
Massive changes, and in all sizes. Like in the last 10 years, I know that we always changed. Sometimes the big one.
Yeah.
And then one year the medium board. We changed in terms of width, the 60, the 63, the 68, the 72, the 76, the 80 and the 85.
Wow.
All.
Okay.
All.
What's the smallest one you do? Because
it's 60 wide.
60 wide. Okay.
Yeah. That's the one I've been actually using here as well. I just have that board for the Defy.
Have?
Yeah. I just have that board for the Defy.
This is why I know I'm on the board. I need a smaller board. It's crazy when I see big guys like you, or it makes sense. Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, boards have a lot of control, and a bigger size board gives you flotation, which makes it easier to start and get off the line and around the jibe. So I do recommend people to take a little bit bigger board.
Well, it is
but then again, I just need to push as hard as I can, right? So then you can really go towards that performance with the risk that comes along.
That is definitely something we're going to be touching on actually on the channel more recently, because if I look at your boards and you're using basically less volume than you.
Yeah. Well,
you know,
my smallest board only, but
Like if you stop, you sink.
I've been in the race standing still.
Yeah, but I think people don't realise that. Like, and again, but you can't, I don't think, judge what you're using compared to what the normal guy uses, because you're moving faster, you're obviously at a much higher level, and it's the same with wave sailing, you know.
But we really push people to ride bigger boards.
Okay.
You know, we call it with the Blitz, which we can touch on, and the Eagle, our freeride board, we really push like a volume yet control concept.
Okay.
Meaning you can really ride it, I would say 10 meters more than what you used to ride.
Okay.
You know, to really have the comfort of planing and size, to do maneuvers, to you know, go through wind holes and all that kind of stuff. But when the wind kicks in, you don't have the, you know, losing control because of the size.
Okay. So, because you've changed every model this year, is this something to do with the D-Lab factory? Because maybe people need to know that. Maybe we said it in the last video, but I think sometimes it's good just to
We used to make boards, let's say for molds.
Yeah.
And let's say to make 8 different sizes, to invest in 8 different molds every single year.
It's a big investment.
It's a big investment, and it's not worth it anymore with the quantities that the market is doing right now.
Yeah.
And that's so amazing from the factory we're at now, because they're all custom CNC made.
Okay.
You know, so if we want to change something, we can just boom, implement it and go, because we don't need to invest in a new mold. And that's why we also decided to change every single size, because it's costing a prototype, but 1 or 2 prototypes is a lot less than a whole mold.
Yeah.
Right? And that's, beside that, the quality and all those kind of things stepped up a lot.
Yeah.
This flexibility that we have is insane. You know, it's really making us being able to develop and put things into production.
Just custom construction. Really.
It is.
Yeah.
It
custom.
is.
If you haven't seen the video, I'll link that actually at the end of this video, because it's a really interesting one. Danny Abley is talking through the process and how it all works. And what you realise is there is a lot going into a board. You know, if you've ever asked why does a board cost so much money, and you look at how many man hours,
yes.
It's hectic. It's hectic.
Yeah, it was really nice, I think, for the people to get some insights. You know, to see what's actually all happening. And I wasn't even aware.
Yeah.
I mean, even I was watching like, okay, I didn't know all of that. Yeah. Because it's easy to, I don't know, see this kind of small mistake and I'm like, how can this be? And if you see how many people are actually touching the board before it arrives at your home, it's impressive.
Pretty crazy.
It's impressive.
So that's the Falcon. This is the fin. This is the.
So this is the SLS. So let's say we get to the boards, the 3 boards which I can really recommend for the DefiWind.
Yeah.
We have a SLS construction. We have in almost all boards we have D-Lab, the most high-end carbon, light, stiff, everything you want basically. Then we have the SLS, I would say the best crossover between price and high-end. So it's a little bit high-end, less high-end than the D-Lab. But then we have the original as well, which is then the
basic construction,
budget-friendly.
Yeah.
You know, it's heavier, it's not carbon, and all of that. The SLS has the Falcon Fin SLS has a couple other changes as well, having the more inside foot strap position, which makes it easier. So if you get into slalom and you don't want to straight away have that full carbon high-end board, you have the same shape.
Yeah.
Because the bottom shape, the length, the rails, everything is the same. But you have the option to stand more inside.
What does that do? Because I mean, a lot of people talk about that. So you mean you're not right on the rail?
Yeah, so you use the board less extreme, because the more you're on the rail, the more you're pushing, you know, the board on the side to make it fly.
Okay.
That's the only way to make it reach its full potential.
Yeah.
But if this goes with you're scared and you're completely out of control, you're not reaching the
You can't sit on your heels, just sitting down on the rail. You've got to be pressing. Pushing.
Exactly. So in this board we have the option, you know, to put it more inside, and the recessed deck. I
When
think
you say that, it means it sort of goes down.
it goes down here. It goes down maybe 5 millimeter. On the Falcon Fin D-Lab, it goes down 30, so 6 times as much. So it's way deeper.
And what does that do?
It basically makes a more efficient rig and board connection, because the sail is completely low and it's increasing control. But you will see that the people who ride the D-Lab, you know, we're on the edge of control. We try to be overpowered all the time and be on the edge of control, right? Now, with less, it creates a little bit more power.
It's got more lift or less?
Not more lift, but you feel like you can push the board more to make it easier go planing and stuff. But the people who are, you know, not completely focused on racing, this can help them to get away a little bit easier. Okay. You know, I need to pump a little bit more.
So it's a control thing, but you get a little less drive on the early back.
Yes. Then we have another new board in the range, which is the Blitz, which is also free race. So basically we have 2 options. I would say if you are an active sailor, so you don't mind to pump a little bit, and for your board to fly, the Falcon Fin SLS is your board. If you want to be a little bit more passive, so a little bit more hang and go, and you don't want the board to fly too much, then the Blitz is a perfect board for you.
How would you put this? Free race? Is that
free race?
That genre in?
You know, you can put 2 different fins, which I think is changing the board's characteristics completely. If you put like a free ride fin, like a bit more banana style, exactly, the board is just super easy going. You know, it's really focused on straight line performance, and of course amazing jibing. But you see with the freeride fin, it sits more calm, it sits a bit lower, and it's very easy to ride. And if you're like, hey, I want the board to sit more on the rail and really push for proper speeds, you put a slalom fin below, and boom, the board is really fast as well.
Is that replaced the board, or?
It's basically it's an evolution of the Blast.
Okay.
We had the Blast before.
Yes. Okay.
And this one is a bit more sportive. You know, the cutouts has been increased a little bit for the tail to sink and to, you know, to make it more free race.
Okay.
But basically, it's an evolution of the Blast.
This kind of going together with the pace.
With the X pace or the S pace.
Yeah,
both.
Okay.
Both. Yes. And then, I mean, you know very well.
DefiWind board?
Amazing. I think this is the easiest way to do the DefiWind.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good mix between. You know, it's longer, you know, so you know you need to plane with 1,000 people around you, and also with all the chops around. With a shorter board, you really need to make sure the board is flying, which requires a little bit of technique.
Yeah.
And then if you have that technique, it's absolutely no problem. But if you don't have that technique and you have all these short chops, you're just hitting everything.
I know that.
You know, it's a bit longer. The nose is going up a little bit more, and you see that the board kind of, you know, cruises over this kind of chop way easier. So I think for a majority of the people, the Blitz is the best option. And then if you get to conditions where it's really crazy, like yesterday morning, for example, where you are like, you were on a wave board or?
I went on the free wave, yeah.
Free wave, yeah, that's what I recommend those people as well. I think a free wave board is more made for bump and jump and back and forward cruising rather than a full on wave board.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the grip 3 and grip 4, those kind of boards, they are made to bottom turn, top turn, and jumping and acceleration to make those jumps. So it's not made to go a Defy Wind back and forward. But our free wave board, yes, it can turn in the waves, but it's really more a bump and jump board. You know, for people on lakes when it's really windy, or here to do the Defy Wind in way more, you know, yeah, of course it doesn't go as fast as this.
Outside straps, or are they all in this? Yeah, a little bit. You can move them.
Yes, yeah, it depends on the size.
Yeah.
The bigger sizes you can put them out. The smaller sizes they stay in the middle because the difference is not that big.
Power box in that, or is that the same for all sizes, or changes in the small ones?
I think it's changing as well, but it's power box in the back. So also there you can choose what kind of fin. You know, if you put a freestyle fin. The board, I'm not a freestyler, but I was trying some Spocks on the board, and didn't succeed one, but no, but you can really feel that it has a lot of pop, you know, and with the freestyle fin, you can really do awesome freestyle moves. And then if you get a little bit more straight outlined for the straight line, it's perfect for.
It's a versatile board. Like the free waves,
it is.
You know, a lot of people have got them. They know the deal on them, but I think maybe a lot of people don't know you could.
No, but we see it in the center. For us, it's sometimes a bit of a shame when we see some magazine tests and they're like overhead high waves testing free wave boards on the waves, and you go like, come on guys. but if we see in the TWS, people love this kind of boards. You know, like because they are not bottom turn, top turn. You know, they head out through big shore break and then they're riding back and forward in big waves, and they make a little jump, and you know, they need easiness, they need control, they need something that's, you know, something they trust on the straight line, because that's how people use this kind of boards. And then if you want, you know, you can make bottom turn, top turn, and you can do some stuff. But it is really made.
It's not what it's for. It can do it,
exactly.
But it's not like the wave board. So that's
exactly. Exactly. You know, and I think the dedicated wave sailors, they will take the grips. I think it's clear. But whoever wants to sail in waves and in wavy conditions and all that kind of stuff, but is not into the full-on wave riding, the Ultra Free Wave is doing exactly what you want in those kind of conditions.
Okay. Well, interesting. Obviously, we just did a podcast. If you haven't seen that podcast, you should definitely check it out on the podcast channel. But you've obviously just got yourself involved now, fully involved in the TWS Centre and the Duotone Centre in Tenerife.
Yes,
so
both.
If you are going to Tenerife,
come and say hi.
Say hi to Mr. Jordy Vonk. It's going to be interesting actually, because you must have so much information.
I really want to. I mean, the TWS has everything, right? They have multiple brands, a lot of gear, and I still believe there's a lot to gain for people in terms of knowledge and experience. And I also want to once I'm living there in August, I also want to, for example, organize some test like a pro days. You know, where I will take all the 94 liters. You know, I'll put 6 of them on the beach.
100%.
You know. And then we'll be there with a flag, and you're allowed to use it for 20 minutes, you know? And then you go out for 20 minutes, there's a flag, you come back, you know, and then you get the other one, you know, and then you go out. Because
I'll give you a tip. Have a phone voice recorder ready. When they come in, when we used to do the testing, like when I used to do it with the board seeker stuff, come in and straight away, without speaking to anyone, record, just been on the whatever, I felt this. Because it's really interesting when you listen to these voice messages back. With no interaction, what people's gut feeling, again, depends on the level of the person.
Of course, but there's a lot of people who think or are not having a good session, and like, oh, it was so tough, and then the next day they go out on different gear, and it's like, oh, it was amazing. But actually the conditions were actually, you know.
That's what I was about to say.
And it's very personal too, no? Like there's people who come in like, wow, this was amazing, and then the next one comes, is like, So
you got to go back to back.
So we want to, you know, put the TWS more as a test center.
I like it. I like it.
Because in the end, if you, let's say, invest in going to such a center, and you actually buy the right product afterwards, it's a lot better for yourself as well, rather than you spend a lot of money on the wrong product, to then in the year or after, or the 2 years after, having to spend a lot of money again to something you then hopefully buy, you know. So we really want to,
I like that idea. I think it makes a lot of sense, because people go there with that idea. Okay, I'm going to test all these boards. But if you've got to go all the way up, you need to be, like you say, on the beach, almost with a timing thing.
I think I have some ideas about it, but I think it will work out. I think it will be cool.
Very interesting, very interesting. Okay, well, last day of the Defy, haven't called it off yet.
Yeah, I think they just want to have their people around that.
It does feel like it's over. How was your whole Defy? I mean, you had some ups and downs, I guess.
I mean, we did 5 races. 3 times I was first at the first mark.
You've definitely got the speed.
So I definitely got the speed, you know. And one race I was leading, and I stopped. And if you know, that's 100 if. You know, but if I could have kept going there, and if I would have taken it home, I would have had the first, the second, and the third, and I would have been easily on the podium, let's say. But cool. I'm still top 5, and I was first, second, third, and then 60th and 14th or whatever.
But it feels like there's a good rivalry at the moment with the brands, with the riders. I don't know. I just get this feeling. I want to see events. I'm looking forward to when they happen. Obviously, Furta is going to be a big
exciting one. Exciting one. No, but I leave this place with a lot of confidence, you know, because if I would have been consistent 6, 7, 8. And beat 5th, I would feel a lot worse than now. I had those moments where people were like, oh fuck, he was actually flying, you know?
And obviously you had that big crash in Furta last year.
Ah, yes.
I'm going to say, all good for that?
I still feel my shoulder a bit.
Really?
But, you know, it's not holding me back. You know, like I cannot do overhead stuff. Like I can push a little bit in the gym, but, you know, I feel it's not the same. But again, it's not holding me back on the water. That's the most important thing. So as long as that's the case.
Good to know. All right, Dees. I'll leave you to it.
See you.
Thank you very much. That's it for Duotone. Who are we going to go for next? I don't know, but so stay tuned to the channel. Check out the website. See you then. Did you see this video up here? What? You've not seen this one? Have you subscribed to the channel? And look, ooh, beer. Ooh, we like beer.